I'd like to tell you, and by way of telling you, Mari, I get to tell everyone else. You've probably heard a lot of things in your life, stories and tales. You can speak. That's why there's a microphone. Don't be afraid. You can answer.
Okay.
Because you have a wonderful voice. So you've heard a lot of stories in your life.
That I have.
Have you ever heard of a story called The Night of the Ass?
I have not.
Okay. Here's a little bit of this of the Night of the Ass, and we'll go deeper into the Night of the Ass as the show progresses. But here's the opening scenes, like the establishing shot of the Night of the Ass. It's February 14th in America, Valentine's Day. I'm sitting in my man box. It's a utilitarian hovel I call home, answering all the mail from my birthday the day before. I got many emails from all over the world. I felt the need to answer every single one of them because people are being very nice to me. And so that went into Valentine's Day. So I'm getting JPEGs and emails from women with making amorous advances. And I am fending them off in a polite and self-deprecating way. My dear, if I still had teeth, I'd call you. Things like that. If I had met you before I was 70, maybe we could, make some electricity of our own instead of me being around to watch it be invented. And I'm just kind of gently dodging it. What these people do not know as I'm looking over the JPEGs and answering this romantic mail is that I'm having a night of the ass. Because the next day, I have to go in for my first colonoscopy. Now, in order to make sure that area of your body is clear for inspection, you must have everything in you be evacuated. Now, there's a box you get at Rite Aid for mere, $68 with the copay? And it's called Movie Prep. And it's prepping you, and what's inside you is going to move. And it's basically like Gatorade from hell. It's like syrup. It's awful. They try and give it like a pleasing lemon lime taste, so it goes down smooth. And you take about 4 mouthfuls every half hour, and you do this through 2 1-liter sessions at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. For the first 2 doses, you feel nothing. You're like, ha! I've got this whole thing beat. Then you realize the next day you're going to be, and look at me, a tattooed man, a punk rock legend who's going to be lying on his side with a tube in his ass. Hello, I'm here until 10 p.m., folks. Anyway, so I'm getting ready for that. And so around, about 90 minutes in, it really starts to work. About 3 hours into this, and I'm not trying to be graphic, it is amazing. The convulsive geysers that fairly launch from your backside. You think you're going to take off. Like I have an aquatic jetpack. And so I'm answering emails all like, hey, thank you, babe, for liking me and still thinking I'm hot at age 52. Whoa, 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 whoa. And so it was the night of the ass. And the night of the ass went until about 0300. And the next day, ... will continue later. And right now, Jimi Hendrix. So, Mari, you're waiting with bated breath, I know, for Night of the Ass, the B-side. Anyway, so the story continues. And so the Night of the Ass, as my body spasmodically and forcefully, propulsively evacuates, basically, I thought my damn DNA was going to come shooting out of me. And finally, towards the end of this journey, this Homeric journey, it's just, water and bean sprouts flying out of you. You think you've arrived. Put it this way, to be succinct, you become the Perrier geyser, if that is a reference for anyone listening tonight. Avec. That's about all the French I've got. Anyway, so finally around 0300, my body calms down enough to where I trust myself to sleep. And so I'm not that upset about the idea of a man who I've only shaken hands with a couple of times snaking a tube into my keister in Beverly Hills. Usually, if you're going to access that area of my body, at least I want dinner and a movie. Hello, everyone! Still here! Anyway, so Heidi, who's been working at my office for, count 'em, 16 plus years, thinks it's fantastic that I'm having all kinds of chaos in my body. She thinks it's hilarious. So it comes in. It doesn't even walk in through the door of the office. It shape shifts itself into smoke and comes underneath the door after it parks its broom in the driveway. And it comes clopping in on its little cloven hooves, and it says, "Let's go to the doctor!" And so I am not allowed to drive. And so it takes me in its car. We go to Beverly Hills. And as we're going, my hands aren't on a steering wheel. And so I am free to come up with material to entertain the nurses and the doctor. And immediately, where does it go? Of course, any number of gerbil references. And so I wanted to tell the nurses and doctors, who no doubt would find my witty repartee hysterical, like they've never heard a shaved gerbil Richard Gere reference before in like 25 years of snaking tubes into aging men's keisters. That's never going to happen. So it ran the gamut from me wanting to tape a note to my butt cheek that said basically, "Help, help, we've been trapped inside like South American miners for the last 51 days. We are SAG union gerbils and we deserve a coffee break," to "Please don't mind us, we've started a family," whatever. And so I get into there, and there's a beautiful young woman behind the counter, the registration or reception, and I fill out the rest of the paperwork. And she says, "So you're here for a colonoscopy?" And she said the words in such a friendly manner, yelling over the soft jazz station she was listening to. And I said, "Yes, I am." And, of course, everyone else is in there too. And I never look at People magazine unless I'm, having a procedure done. That's a big word to these people. Procedure. What are you having done? A procedure. Don't want to talk about it. So I'm looking through People magazine, and I'm looking at all these men, these gajillionaire men, wondering if they've ever been lying on their side with a lubricant being applied with a tube going into their keister. And I'm looking at Brad Pitt with a graying beard, who seems to be a nice guy. I wonder if he's had said tube. Tom Hanks, definitely. I'm not saying look at his face, that's a guy who's had a tube in his ass. I'm just saying, like, he's up there, he's that age, he's probably health conscious. And so I'm looking at Tom Hanks going, well, if he can do it, well, then so can I. And that really didn't work for me. Anyway, finally, my name is called. And a very friendly nurse introduced herself, and she said, "How old are you?" And I instinctively said, 27. And she looked at me, and I said, I gave it a shot. She said, "Why are you having a colonoscopy?" And I said, "Well, I did it for the fun, and I'm hoping to win bonus points. And I hear there's a free dinner. Matt's movie, something, anything. Give me something. Give me a Pinkerton ticket. Like, get this over with, right?" And so she said, "Well, no, are you having a problem, or is this just a checkup?" I said, "Yeah, well, I've been told when you hit 50-something, you're supposed to, come in for this." She said, "Good. Yeah, yes, you are, but there's nothing wrong." I said, "No, my problem is I keep getting older and more devilishly handsome." And so anyway, within minutes, you're naked, except for your socks and the nightie, which I've been instructed not to button up. Easy access. Hello, Mari. How are you? Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and defiantly, I kept my watch on. Like, I'll show them. I'm leaving my watch on. Basically, like I'm saying that I'm running the show just a little bit. And so finally, the woman comes back with a little bit more paperwork. She has her back to me. And she says, "How tall are you?" And why not shoot? Swing for the cheap seats. That's how you get the home run. I said 6'2". She bought it. She wrote it down. Like, why not? At least I'll be tall, at least on paper, right? So anyway, so finally the anesthesiologist comes in, a bright, cheerful fellow, and he says the word colonoscopy with such force and such joy you could bounce a dime off it the way he said it, like colonoscopy, like bam, here we go. So he said, I'm going to give you a sedative. And then when the doctor says go, I'm going to give you the real stuff. You're going to be in twilight. We're not putting it out because it's not really, it's a little invasive. But it's not like we're cutting you open. So we're not going to put you down. We're just going to put you under. You'll go down hard and then come back up in about 20 minutes and then you're done. So it's a little dose, but to get you ready for that, basically to relax the orifice. Hello. Anyway, oh yeah, and also I was thinking of John Boehner on his side with the tube. And that, you want to say like, bring a big tube, like a real big tube. So he said, we're going to kind of, mellow you out. And then when only the doctor can say go. So you're prepped, you're ready. And here comes a little sedation. And you know me, fanatic. I am not one who really does anything more than a cup of coffee a day. So any kind of stimulation, that was, I didn't want to go there. But yeah, any kind of stimulant, I'm just like fall right over because it doesn't take much. And so even that had me like, which made me want to, drive. Anyway, the doctor comes in like, hey, how are you? I remember you. You're the friendly guy. And so we shook hands. And he said, how are you feeling? I said, I'm naked except for my socks and a watch and a nightie. And, we're going to act out a scene from Caligula just soon. And so he said, yeah, you're a funny guy. And so he said, are you ready? I said, I guess. He said, okay, hit him. And they don't even give you a countdown from 100 because it's so immediate. Like, boom. And then, you wake up like, 20, 30 minutes later. And so the nurse is laughing. I said, what's so funny? She said, you don't remember what you were saying, do you? And I said, I was speaking. She said, we couldn't shut you up. And so to make sure you're okay, we talk to you to make sure, are you breathing? Are you happy? Are you safe? Are you and because when you're not really out, you can wake up in the middle of this. It happens. So we just make sure that, that you're okay. And so at one point we said, are you okay? And you said you were fine. And then we said, your friend Heidi's waiting for you in the front office. And they said, you started going off, saying like, she runs my life. She runs my life. And we couldn't shut you up. You don't remember any of this? And I said, no. And they thought it was really funny. They said, we thought it was so funny. We ran out to the reception area and we told your friend Heidi. And so when I came out, she was in hysterics. And so, and don't worry, after we get done with some more music, we'll finish up our story called The Night of the Ass. Ooh, fanatics, the last couple of days, as I emerged from the Night of the Ass, I was very overzealous and misread the instructions. You're not supposed to eat like several hours before this procedure. I got it like a day wrong and went like 48 hours without eating, which is extremely distracting in that it's hard to concentrate. And I'm a sheltered Western person in that I have easy access to food, like many of us, thankfully, and I eat kind of any time I want. And it makes me very acute to the needs of others who endure food insecurity. Because you and I, we get a little hungry, but you get off work, you go eat. It's not an issue. It's like, I'm really hungry. Well, go get a Cliff Bar. You can eat. But you go a couple of days or 30 some hours, you're like, damn, I can't sleep. Like if you go to the liner notes, you can go to tonight's show notes, KCRW.com, HenryRollins.com, LAweekly.com. I wrote those in a profound state of distraction because I was just so damn hungry, where it just becomes an annoyance. And drinking water, won't do it. It doesn't help. And so anyway, we emerge from the procedure. Heidi and I, we go back to the car. In order to do the procedure, they need to inflate you with air. Well, what goes in to any of us must come out. Heidi comes from a large family where all kinds of bodily functions are, bragged about and displayed at dinner during quiet moments. Me being an only child and kind of tightly wound and a bit of a prude, I will not share my functions with anyone. And there I am, a damn inner tube of compression. As the air makes its way through the intestines, heading towards the end of the Holland Tunnel, hello, New York, to suppress this riot of gas, one must clinch. It was one of the most painful rides of my life. Every speed bump. And Heidi loves it when I'm in a vulnerable position. She thinks it's oh so funny. And so, like, go ahead, let it out. I'm like, I will not. And she knows that. So she's driving real slow. And so you think that after you haven't eaten for a couple of days, you'd be ravenously hungry. Quite the opposite. I became kind of proud. Like, I haven't eaten for a couple of days. I'm beyond food. I will survive on cold glasses of clear water in the light of the moon. I'm beyond man. I'm beyond redemption. I am therefore beyond judgment and also beyond food. That lasted a solid hour. And then I was right back into the peanut butter and phenobarbital. So I spent the last couple of days retoxing with food and listening to a lot of music, because listening to music when, the night of the ass, it just wasn't all that good. And so last night was a lot of Stephen R. Smith, who's a great guitar player. You should check out all of his records right now. And today was listening to this show and a whole lot of John Coltrane. In fact, I listened to this entire album. It is called Sunship.